Hello and welcome to the Cyberden with your host, me, Jake the Voice Parr. Now please welcome my latest guest, Mercury, vocalist of Priest and former bass player of Ghost. Thanks for coming, mate.
Thank you for having me, Jake, and nice.
Alright then, Mercury, let's start off with the usual bread and butter question. What got you into making music?
Both my parents was into music. That's actually how they met. So I always had music around in my home, and listening to music since an early age. And well, yeah, I started with drawing. I did a lot of visual stuff first, but then there was a band that didn't have a bass player when I was 13 or 14. So they needed a bass player, and my mom had a bass at home. So that's actually when I actually started for real. I did do the clarinet when I was a kid too, when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. So I might have been starting there, but for real, I felt like when I was 14 and started in my first band, like rock band. Then I never stopped playing, since then. So.
From humble beginnings, indeed. Let's get chatting, of course, about Ghost. How did you get on board with this? I mean, these days, of course, it's definitely a pretty worldwide, love it or hate it kind of band, admittedly, but nevertheless, still clearly known by many music lovers. So, how exactly did you get on board with these guys?
I mean, the guys at the time were living in Linköping, and the same city I'm from, and we knew each other since school there. We went to music school together, so I already knew the guys. And the bass player before me chose to quit because of for private reasons, and they needed another one. And I was a bass player, and I'm from the same city, so yeah, I got the question. I also knew several members in the band at that time too, so it was pretty natural, I think, that I started to play with Ghost. Yeah.
So, what was it like behind the scenes with, of course, Tobias Forge and the other nameless ghouls? Working on songs and, of course, live performances. How was all of this?
Well, it was being in a band with all what that means. You might not always. It was a fun time. I learned a lot, and it went very fast for Ghost. They had a lot of famous fans wearing the T-shirts, and there was managements and record labels was eager to sign. So there were many people that wanted the band to rise very quickly, which it also did. So it was a roller coaster ride for sure. Very exciting times, I must say. And behind the scenes, yeah, I mean, you live close to each other for a long time, and yeah, it was an experience for sure. Learned a lot, as I said.
Would you say you had any favorite moments while you were touring, going around live? I mean, you guys were doing openings for like Metallica and all sorts of other huge names in metal, especially.
Yeah, we toured with Iron Maiden, supporting them along with Slayer. So in South America, for example, we also played Rock in Rio, which I think still is the biggest show that Ghosts have done to this date. It's very weird, big stages. It's a long time ago now for me. It's like 10 years ago or something. But yeah, it was very, very surreal and very cool, I thought, to be able to do that, to meet all your old idols in the metal scene, and hang out with people, that you only saw in records or music videos before. So it was pretty weird, very cool.
Would you say you have any favorite tracks from, especially the ones you worked on during your time in Ghost?
To be honest, I was like more into the image than actually to the music. I think there's some good tunes, It was a track called Body and Blood. I like to play that one. And Conclave con Dio probably was my favorite track, yeah. Because it starts with the bass line, and I think it's one of the most energetic Ghost songs that I played during those years. Yeah.
So, of course, around 2015 or so, you ended up getting booted from Ghost. So, what exactly happened, and how did you get through the kind of like the struggles of being dropped from this band?
No, it was I don't exactly know the exact reason. Haven't talked so much about it, but what I heard was that I stopped playing during concerts, and thought that sounded very weird because I didn't. I later heard when I tested the backline again with the new bass player after me that there was a glitch in like a cable that made it glitch in the in-ear system of the singer. So in his ears, it must have sounded like I was quit playing, but I think it was a technical problem. If that was the reason, it was a technical problem, and they found out, so they had to change the cable or whatever in the backline, and then the problem was solved. I hope it wasn't. I got booted for a technical problem. I don't know if it was something else, and chemistry between members or whatever. I don't know. I didn't stop playing during concerts. At least you can check every YouTube video, and if somebody finds some place where I do, please send it to me, because I don't remember that. So
Again, how did you get through the kind of personal struggles when, of course, you were dropped from the band? Because I read a few interviews online saying that, it put quite a bit of an effect and, quite a damper on your mental health for a while.
I spilled my guts in some interviews, and they ended up on Blabbermouth, which I didn't have the faintest idea about that it would end up there. It became a little weird to some people came up to me and asked a lot of questions after that. But well, no, but I was, of course, for a short period. This is back in 2015. It went very fast. It was like a breakup. It takes a couple of months, then you're back. I got some help from I talked to a professional a couple of times, and we went through it, and I was pretty fast up on my feet on the other side, and decided to start other musical projects pretty fast after that. So it was, of course, a little sad times, but I didn't want the party to stop, so I just continued doing the masked band thing. I think it was like out of some kind of survival mode, just continue where we left off, but with a new project, which I'm very glad today that I did. So I'm 100% sure I'm in a much better place now than I would have been if I was continuing in Ghost, for sure.
We'll be talking about this new project, Priest, in just a moment, but I want to ping one more question about, of course, Ghost. So it's kind of like a double question. Are you still in touch with Tobias Forge or any of the other Ghost guys? And what are your thoughts about Ghost's current repertoire of tunes today?
To be honest, I don't have a track of the tunes. If I start with the second question, I've listened a little to the latest album, and I'm not very impressed. But I guess it's get a lot of streams. I guess many people out there, and I have some contact with the former members of Ghost, but not. I have no contact with current members at all. So, but I have sporadic contact with a few of the older members, of course, because they're close friends and even family. So.
How about Tobias Forge? Is he? I don't know. Is he too busy to respond, or no?
I don't contact him at all.
Ah, well.
I have nothing to say. I've said everything I have to say to him, and I moved on a long time ago.
Let's move on ourselves, of course, to your current project, Priest. So, can you tell us a bit more about the formation of Priest and the band's overall goal and direction that you wanted to take things in, and not to mention things like, the inspirations behind the band too?
Yeah, I always wanted to create a electronic band, and I listened a lot to synth music, both industrial and synth pop EBM. And I wanted to continue with a masked band, of course, but to make another metal band would be a little too much. So I just, mixed together the ideas, the dream of having an electronic band, and also continue with the mask thing, because I thought it was really relieving actually on stage to wear a mask. And I actually, when I was in Ghost, I thought it actually was the coolest band in the world at that time. I don't think so anymore, but at that time I really thought I was playing in the coolest band. So I just want to take what I learned during the time in Ghost and just take it a step further. And we might not aiming for the like grandiose image that maybe Ghost have. This is more underground, and we were also very, very conscious about that the choice of genre is much more narrow than maybe the metal genre. So it's not. We already knew we're not gonna gain even close a big audience, but at least I think I love this kind of music, and that's what I grew up with. And of course with bands like Soft Cell, Depeche Mode, Nitzer Ebb, and so forth, from 242. And yeah, we pay homage to all that kind of music. But now we're gonna try to take it in a more modern, maybe futuristic direction. We already did the retro backtracking now. So now the newer stuff we're working on is gonna probably sound more modern or even more experimental. So, and it's about the future and the merging with machines. And we already see the artificial intelligence getting smarter and smarter, and we're using it to more things in our daily lives. So we stand for the optimistic merging between man and machine, so to speak, to make it very simple.
So could you tell us about the production of an average Priest song? How roughly does it kind of go down when in the recording studios or at home or wherever?
Some songs are written on guitar or piano at first, and then usually I start to program in my own studio on my computer, and up to a certain level I try to define the song. Then we work with a producer called Simon Söderberg, who also is a former member of Ghost. He was the lead guitar player for 6 years in Ghost, and he also produced the first Ghost record. Even if it doesn't say on the cover, he actually did produce the album in his own studio. So right now we're working with him and have done so since the start with Priest. So we take it to the studio, then he takes a look at it, and sometimes we agree, and it's a very easy process. Sometimes we disagree, but it's a good thing if two people feel strongly in the studio. It's a good thing because it means you care about the music. So, and then we just try to define the songs and put awesome sounds into them, and using cool synthesizers and mostly hardware, not so much software as you can think. But so we really try to use a lot of hardware, like old synthesizers, newer ones, and real drum machines. And it's a fun process. It's always Christmas when you can start to track really cool old synthesizers. It's always a feast for the ear. Very fun.
Could you describe perhaps the average direction that you took each Priest EP and album in? What kind of aim were you trying to go for with each of these kind of releases?
First one was just making a retro record. Try to make it sound like it was recorded in the late 80s, basically. So we borrowed a lot of old synthesizers, as I said, and I had a couple of tracks already. So some tracks I wrote all by myself, and some is co-written with former members. And also together I write a lot with Simon also, because sometimes he takes songs to another level that I couldn't do myself. So, but for the first record, it's a retro record. It's just like this is Priest, and with the EP after that, it was like more like an expansion of the first record, I think, maybe a little more grittier and dirtier. And Cyberhead, which came on during the Corona epidemic, that's a pop record. It's we wanted to do something more poppier, which you can sit back and listen to. It got because of some changes in the lineup. I think that record went under the radar, and we didn't have any. We released it ourselves and didn't have any money for PR. So all the money went into the record, and we didn't have any money to distribute, to make any PR for it. So it went under the radar, and it got a little mixed reviews. But I'm very proud of that one, and I think it's gonna be, in a couple of years, I think more people will understand that that's actually a really, really good record. But the latest one, Body Machine, it's back to the roots, more EBM body feeling, like from 242 and Nights Through Ebb feeling to it, but also with some pop tracks. And it was also a comeback album when we were about to start playing live again. And it's grittier, and it was supposed to be a trilogy, like Body Machine 1, 2, and 3. It's all, but now we finished up the newest album, the mixes of the newest album, and it's not going to be a trilogy. It's going to be another album coming soon, early next year. But hopefully we can release singles now, and it's going to be our best yet. So keep your ears peeled.
I know I'm certainly going to be doing exactly that and playing some more Priest tunes live on the Cyberden as well. So,
thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, so you've also done quite a few cover songs like, Rammstein, The Cure, Depeche Mode. When you're doing these kind of cover songs, how do you decide which ones to kind of cover and what kind of angle or twist you take them in?
It's very simple. Most of the covers were done, except for one, Street Spirit. We did a cover of Radiohead's Street Spirit, Fade Out, and that was just because we loved that song, and I wanted to hear it in an electronic form instead of the guitar-based, of course, original. So that was just like us wanting to do a cover, because we haven't heard that song being made that way, so we wanted to do our take on it. The other songs are actually the record label in the US that we work with, Cleopatra Records. They actually do these compilations, tribute albums to artists. So then for money we do the cover, and we need some of money, and we only get a few songs to choose from. So sometimes when we fast, we can choose from the 10 top songs on Spotify. So that's how we snagged Personal Jesus. And we did a Cure cover, and I was hoping that we could do another Cure song, but the only song left was the Love Cats, and we really needed the money. Maybe not our best song, but we just had to do it. It was, yeah, we did the cover for money. And that's also, of course, with the latest cover, it's like, then half a year ago, it was actually October last year, they asked if we could do a Rammstein cover, and we did. So we delivered that one in January, and of course they decided to release it right now after the Till Lindemann stuff. Had we chosen ourselves, we probably would have waited until everything was cleared, but now they wanted to release it, and we already signed the contract, so we didn't have so much to say about that. So that's a little bit how it works sometimes with covers.
Are there any other songs out there that you would love Priest to eventually and hopefully cover someday?
Yeah, I think we've done a lot of covers. I don't think we're just gonna make so much more covers, but at some point we probably will. I love a Swedish band called Weeping Willows, and I know they have some songs that I've looked at to maybe interpret in an electronic way. So if you haven't checked them out, Weeping Willows. But I don't know. We probably will not cover other electronic bands, because they already have electronic versions of their songs. So if we do covers, we probably look at rock songs or other genres, so we can do a good interpretation into electronic music, something like that.
Now I noticed with your discography, me just digging through them and pretty much enjoying all of it. I noticed that there weren't any remixes of any songs by Priest. Why is that? And is that going to perhaps change in the future, or are you guys maybe not too sure about such an idea?
To do a remix for us, it's like I'd rather just do a new song, I mean, we have a lot of material lying around, and it feels like if you're starting to do remixes, okay, it's a matter of maybe money. If somebody pays a lot, then we might reconsider. But it's like you're wasting your time with time you could spend producing and recording or writing a new track, original track instead. So I guess pretty time consuming also. We made a few remixes actually, like 2 remixes, I think. But yeah, it's true. We don't do so much remixes. And we haven't asked so many other people to do remixes as well. So we have a few, but not so much. Maybe we should look into that more. I don't know.
Some cool remixes out there. I asked because I'm actually quite a bit of a fan of the remix culture in the world of music, and I've done a fair few remixes myself, and
All right.
so it kind of just popped in my head like, I've not seen a Priest remix yet. I must demand an answer to this.
Maybe we should do more, send it out more. But I mean, yeah. Thank you for the tip. Like maybe that's something we should look more at. But it's so much to do right now. We're finishing up a new album and I'm writing another one. So it's like I'm focused. When I'm home, we're touring a lot now too. So when I'm home, it's like I just want to be in the studio and zone out a bit from, try to be a little creative and just sit and write new stuff. Pretty nice.
Touring globally, how does it differ compared to, of course, the days of playing live with Ghost? And what would you say is kind of like the appeal of getting out on stage and just blaring out those synths and all sorts?
Yeah, it's very nice. We always have a blast, and it's not very different at all. It's pretty much the same thing. The sizes of the stages, actually, some of the stages we're playing with Priest now are the same size of stages we played with Ghost in the beginning. So that's pretty much the same thing. And sometimes we do bigger festivals. Latest we played in Finland, packed room, about 4,000 people. It's nice. We do both bigger, and so it feels pretty similar. But of course, it's a job. You have to be on top of your game every day, every night. So it's important with sleep and, not drinking too much, and keep an eye out so you don't fall into the many pitfalls that the road gives to you, So, but I'm older now, so it's easier to do it. I think if you're around 20 years old or 30 years old, you might not be, you take advantage of the many temptations that the road can offer you. So it feels better than ever to be out on the road right now, actually, because it's I'm behaving better, and that's gives you more energy to actually do a kick-ass show. So I'm looking forward to go out on the road again.
Let's talk a bit about the music videos. How did they come into fruition exactly?
We used a couple of different directors. I directed 2 videos myself, The Cross and Signal in the Noise. And we worked a lot with Claudio Marino, which also worked a bit with Ghost and so forth. Also with Behemoth and other more metal acts. And we worked with another guy called Don Svan on our first video. I'm mostly do like storyboarding and stuff. I'm involved in almost on every video because I'm educated visual storyteller. I went 2 years to school in university in Sweden for that. So I'm very interested in movies and visual storytelling. So and then we just go out and record. I mean, hire a location or do what you do when you're shooting, and it's very fun. So I'm looking forward to realize some new ideas that we have for the new album, and I have some really good ideas, and it's just a matter of which director to use for the job, or if we should shoot it ourselves or something. We don't know yet, but it's always a fun process to do a video. We had a director in Hollywood as well that did Techno Girl, a really cool video for us also. So Vicente is his name. So check out our videos on YouTube. So it's a variety of cool stuff there.
How do you actually decide on which songs that you want to make a music video for, which songs you want released as a single, or perhaps which songs you want as both a music video and single release? How do you exactly decide on these things?
It's been different decision patterns. For Techno Girl, for example, the record label wanted that song and I didn't protest. I think it's a catchy tune. Otherwise, we just try to find out which one are the most potential that we think is going to be the most appealing to a wider or a broader audience than other tracks on the album, for example. So we choose what we think going to be the more popular songs, like the more catchier or whatever. And just try to do videos for those. Pretty straightforward, but you never know, of course. You never know which songs are going to go best. Now we have a song called Virus that it wasn't a single or didn't have a video, but it's number 2 on Spotify. So you never know if you do the right or the wrong choice. We try, and of course it's about listening and with your experience, try to make a choice.
Do you want to hear a bit of a funny story about some Priest music that I've been playing on Siren? Yeah, sure. So, yeah, like I said, I've played quite a few Priest tunes. I try and play one like maybe once or twice every few weeks or so.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Really got into that one track, Neuromancer. And I thought, love this track. Definitely in like my fave 5 for the band. I'll put that on the radio. And then we're playing it live, and I'm listening back to the lyrics, going, I think I'm kind of bouncing on the razor's edge with some of these suggestive noises and lyric choices, like,
oh,
yeah, I'll probably just remove that and replace it with a different one when I'm done.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit edgy. Thank you for we always play it live. It's a very good live tune. So we basically play it every live show. We try to cram Neuromancer in there. It's a very fun song to play live and sing. So it's but I understand what you mean. Hopefully it didn't bring any reprimands.
Surprisingly, I managed to get away with it. I've had a bit of a track history of like playing songs on the radio that shouldn't have been played, and somehow like I dodge a bullet. I think, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me.
Actually, there was a rock radio station in Sweden that played one of our songs, The Pit, and they actually got a phone call from the management of Ghost and told them that you can't play Priest. What are you doing? So can't play us on that radio station because of I think it was emotional reasons or something like that. So that's true story.
What a peculiar reasoning that.
Yeah, that's what happened. And I think some other doors were like closed because people thought we were like a hate band or whatever. I don't know, which we weren't or aren't. We couldn't care less. But some reason, some people involved with Ghost didn't want something happen for Priest through some other channels, and so we went into some closed doors for sure while starting this band. So, just an anecdote.
If they pop any calls our way, I'll make sure that they get thoroughly ignored, and that Priest will stay on the airwaves.
I appreciate it. This was a couple of years ago. I'm sure it's not like that anymore, but it still has a little weird aftertaste after that. It was a little weird times. It was also during I think it was during the lawsuit or whatever. It was like a lawsuit a couple of years ago with former Ghost members and stuff. So things were probably a little bit more, touchy back then. But that was, just an anecdote. But thank you. If any calls comes your way, feel free to neglect them.
What are the other future plans for Priest? Of course, you've mentioned about the new album in the works. Any other juicy details you're able to share?
Yes, we playing a show here in Stockholm in 1 month, and then we do a little mini tour in the US in the end of September, early October, and then we do go for a massive UK European tour with the band Death Stars. We're gonna be main support for them in a long ass tour. So we're gonna cover a lot of UK dates there and rest of Europe. So we will be back home in December. So we'll see you on the road there. And the new album is finished. It's going to be called Dark Pulse. And it's going to be out early next year. We haven't finalized any record contracts and yet, so we'll see how it's going to be released. But we're finishing the artwork and everything up now. So it's going to be, we're going to announce a release date fairly soon, I guess, if everything goes as we want to. So that's what we have in store for you guys.
When you're not out on the road or making music, stuff like that, when you're not making yourself ever so busy with your work and Priest, how do you like to unwind and relax?
I buy movies on Blu-ray or DVD, and I watch them. And but I never stop working. I mean, vacation is for employees, I think Karl Lagerfeld said once. And so when I watch a movie, I write down stuff for the lyrics, for example. So I never really take time off, I guess. But I like to read comics and books and watch movies. I got a batch of movies in the mail today, so it's Christmas time tonight. I have a few really good ones to choose from tonight. And me and my girlfriend always watch a movie every night. Even if we're busy, we try to have that at least every night, one movie. It's not more exciting than that. I like to consume pop culture.
Well, Mercury, let me just say thank you so much for coming onto the Cyberden. It's been an absolute blast chatting with you.
Thank you, Jake, and it's been a blast here too. I mean, thank you for the good questions, and thank you for playing Priest. And we have a new record for you to play in the future too. So, and to everybody out there listening to Cyberden, thank you for listening today or tonight. I don't know which time it's going to be sent, but keep your eyes and ears peeled and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and check our website, priestnexus.com. We also have a web shop, airghoul.com. Check that out and find some cool stuff there too. And once again, Jake, thank you for having me.
Thank you as well. So any other things you'd like to say to the wonderful Priest fan base?
Yes. At the moment, we're a DIY band. We make pretty much everything ourselves. Everything you see, everything you hear is pretty much what anybody can do in your home studio. So if you're doing music, keep up the work. You can always do it. And we're very excited about the future. We have some really cool stuff in store for you. And so if you aren't already, follow us on our social media, and we will have some really nice goodies for you very soon. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting Priest.
And I'd personally like to thank all of my wonderful listeners out there for tuning into another great interview right here on the Cyberden. So Mercury, stay safe out there, and I can't wait for that new album.
Thank you very much, Jake, and stay safe, you too. And thank you once again for having me. It was a pleasure.